So I recently covered Flap Happy on the channel for Mega Cat Studios, a game that was up on Kickstarter that was funded and has since closed. But after covering it, Mega Cat Studios reached out to me again to share that they have yet another game up on Kickstarter, this time for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on what part of the world you're in, and it is Rocket Panda, and this is a very interesting game. Unfortunately, no test cartridge to show off this time, so let's just dive into the game itself. So Rocket Panda, the whole goal of it is to collect badgers throughout a stage, collect all of the biscuits, and make it to the end of the level without dying. The demo does a good job of giving us the basic story concepts if you don't read through the descriptions on Kickstarter and all that. Basically, Biscuit Head has invaded Rocket Panda's world, and it's up to you to defeat him and save the badgers and all that. And it gives you a nice overview of the controls and the 3 selectable difficulties. So I gotta say, I love the direction that this game is taken with its aesthetics and themes. It's all based on food. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. And it does a really good job of bringing you into its world. It starts off relatively slow, and I'm not gonna lie, I at first thought it was kind of boring, because you're just kind of lackadaisically flying around and collecting these badgers and food items. But then as you progress through the levels, they do get progressively harder. You run into more obstacles, you run into enemies, and eventually projectiles, and things get a lot more intense, so you get to use the physics of the jetpack itself. It's Rocket Panda, you have a jetpack of course, and you get to go up, down, left, right, and the whole point is to free these badgers from the cage. And there's 3 difficulty levels, and the number of badgers per level is going to change per difficulty. And I don't think it worked in the demo that's available. There was always 3 badgers no matter what difficulty I selected, so whatever. It's all good. But badgers are interesting. They actually act as a life per se, so you collect a badger, you can take 1 hit. If you have no badgers, you're gonna get a game over. And if you lose a badger, it just reflects negatively on your level score, and so the game does feature high scores and that fun stuff. Overall, the game features 7 worlds with 60 plus levels according to the Kickstarter listing. Again, not all of them are available in the demo. And as of this video, the game has 10 days left in its Kickstarter campaign and has already reached its funding goals. So this one is happening, and if you want to get a physical copy of it, it's a good chance to do so. If you'd rather have a digital copy, that is also an option. But again, I want to highlight just how great the build-up to the difficulty level in this game is. By the time you face the first boss, you kind of have an idea of what you're in for, and later levels are just going to be a lot harder, and that's going to be really exciting. And looking at some of the preview videos, you can see that there's just going to be a lot more intense sections than were available in this demo. But again, the whole game is kind of physics-based. You are constantly falling down with your jetpack, and you have to either press the B button on your Genesis controller or up on the D-pad to make yourself go back up, and everything is very based on that trajectory of movement. You get a special dash attack as you collect T, and this comes into play to save you from taking damage from enemies or blowing through obstacles to get collectibles that you might otherwise not be able to reach, such as one that's surrounded by spikes. But graphically speaking, this is a fun game to look at. The panda is well defined, has good animation. I love that he kind of stares at you every now and then with some of the frames. It's a lot of fun. The badgers kind of look like pandas once they're flying around with you, but when they're on the ground, they look like badgers. And I'm not really sure about them too much, but I mean, it works. And the levels themselves are nicely food themed. They might not be the most detailed graphics you'd ever seen on Genesis, but they work for the purposes of this game, and backgrounds get progressively better as you go through the levels. So overall, a pretty game to look at, and nothing that is going to make your eyes bleed, so I'm very grateful for that. I hate harsh colors, sorry. On the audio front, the music is very catchy and doesn't get repetitive or old like I expected it to, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a lot of trouble with some games' musics lately, but this one was very catchy and upbeat, and I really enjoyed it in my time that I spent playing with it. And I'm not gonna lie, the fact that they wrote an entire theme song for the game that plays on the main menu with lyrics is just one of the greatest touches I have ever seen. It is incredible, and again, it is very catchy and very fun. Oh man. So after spending a weekend with the demo, I actually burned it onto a Retro Stage Blaster for Genesis to play it on real hardware, as well as the demo on emulation, which is what you've been seeing in the recordings here today, is just on Genesis emulation. But I've really enjoyed it. I found it a very fun experience. Gets more difficult as you progress into it, and when you get to that first boss, it's like, oh crap, okay, things have changed a little bit. So again, I just want to highlight the progression loop is top notch. And I feel this is a game that most anyone can enjoy, from my kids up to me myself. So a lot of age range and just a lot of fun and personality in it. And I just really get a kick out of that. So thought I would share it all with you today here in this short vid. And if you want to check it out, check out the description below. There will be a link to the Kickstarter. And again, this one has already been funded. So if you're interested in checking it out, you can download the demo and then you can try it out for yourself. And then if you decide you want to have a copy, there's the Kickstarter. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. This isn't anything sponsored. They just reached out and said it was available, and I figured I'd check it out, and I really did enjoy it. So figured I'd share and pass that along with all of you, because I like to showcase things that I find enjoyable. So thank you again for watching. See you all back next video.